Do you feel like you're backed into a housing corner with no solutions or options at your fingertips? We're going into 2026 and I'd like to have a conversation with you and discuss some of the options available that you might not be aware of. So if we draw a parallel to the health industry, and it's a little random, but stick with me. If you have a health issue, you're going to look around for solutions. You're going to consult experts, you're going to look online, you're going to consult AI, all these different avenues of information that we have in the marketplace today. We also want to do that for housing. And with that, we always want to start off with what our symptoms are. So if we're going to do that with housing, we need to start off with knowing what you have and where you're at. How much capital do you have to work with? Do you have any friends or family or extended relatives that have property? We need to know what your short-term goals are. We need to know what your long-term goals are. And in this video, we're going to have a conversation centered around all that stuff. Let's get started. There are alternatives out there to a 1% down and $650,000 mortgage or, renting from an apartment complex. We need to parse out all the stuff in between that, whether it's a tiny house on wheels, a tiny house put on a foundation, a guest house, a hardship, an ADU, primary home, modular, maybe a manufactured home is right. We have clients that I recommend you don't buy anything from us. So if someone comes to us and says, hey, we've got $5,000 and a credit score of 550 and I'm sleeping on my friend's couch, no, absolutely not. Do not buy a house from Wolf Industries, but take these classes that we suggest and repair your credit and go focus on making some money, right? That's going to be your step one. Let's not get the cart before the horse. And we at Wolf Industries have a core value of own it, and often that'll bleed over into our suggestions of what we tell our clients. Adding on to the own it perspective, that also is how we approach our clients' financial situation. And so we talk about it openly. I don't want to put my clients in a bad spot financially. Solution seeking is another core value at Wolf. And as we dig into your existing situation, we will get into the weeds on all sorts of topics. Some people even joke and say, is this a family counseling session? And it almost is. So when we're looking for solutions, we have to put together a list of priorities, starting with the highest and working down from there. And this stuff comes at us, meaning you and I, when we're having this discussion at the table, from many different angles and perspectives. Oh, grandmother wants this for housing. She doesn't want all the main floor. But then the mother might say, hey, when we no longer need grandmother in the house or ADU from Wolf, who's going to then be moving in at that point? And so we have to map out a little bit of a plan, albeit just a napkin sketch, of how this is going to shake loose for everybody and find the right solution. And the last core value at Wolf is a positive attitude. Like, it's got to be a win-win. If somebody's left out, it's not worth it. If it's not fun to do, I don't even want to sell the house to somebody. And that is what sets Wolf apart from everybody else. Those core values are the guiding principles behind every action that we take here at Wolf Industries, and that brings us to where we're at today. So if we start with where we're at now and work backwards, we take a set of documents and send it to the state having jurisdiction over which we're sending that module to, and they review, stamp, and approve it. And then we apply to build that over and over again. And this inspector by the state comes through and inspects every stage of every build, giving us a label at the end that the local jurisdiction simply has to acknowledge and stamp as approved in their books. From there, we have an approved home that we now have to determine how we'll permit it on your site. I mentioned it briefly earlier, but we've got ADUs, we've got guest houses, we can permit it as a primary home, we can permit it as a hardship. There's a plethora of options out there with this small structure approved by the jurisdiction. To sum it up, we have many different approved models that can be built through our production line and then deployed, solving many different use cases. And it's up to you and I sitting down to have a discussion on how that might look. I am super excited to have that conversation with you at some point in the future, and or one of my associates. But until then, click on the link below and check out for yourself all the different solutions we have here at Wolf. Like, comment, and subscribe, and thank you for watching. We'll catch you on the next video.